ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
We are ready to go. It's The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. The text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got a lot to get into. Of course, we're still basking in the glow of the weekend. The Marshall men getting the win on the basketball court. The football team winning the 75 game. What a great weekend. Soccer, unfortunately, scoreless tie. They had to go to penalty kicks, and Marshall fell in that game 6-5. But all is not lost. I was over at the Student Center earlier today, the selection show, and Marshall is the 13 seed. So Marshall got seeded and will face the winner of Furman or North Carolina. How about that? I'm actually excited for that matchup. And the matchup for the Herd against one of those two teams will be on Sunday. We're going to hear from Chris Grassi in just a little bit on the seeding, where he thinks this team should be, the bracket itself. He alluded to the fact he'd like to see the Herd play Charlotte again. The West Virginia Mountaineers, on the other hand, did not get a seed. They will host a game, but they are not seeded nationally. So you beat Marshall. Technically, you have to go to penalty kicks, and Marshall gets a first-round bye and will face the winner of Furman and North Carolina. And the Mountaineers, on the other hand, will play North Florida, and then will head off to Virginia. So an opening round game for the Mountaineers, not seeded, and then on the road to Virginia if they get past North Florida. I don't know how this thing works. First of all, I think the Mountaineers should have been seeded. Absolutely. They earned it. Second of all, I still think Marshall should have been seeded as well. And then, on top of that, that was it from the Sun Belt. Not a really good showing. The only two teams that get in from the Sun Belt this year, not maybe the best year in the Sun Belt, but Marshall and WVU, and that was it from the league this year. So the two schools from the Mountain State waving the banner for soccer. We'll hear from Chris Grassi a little bit later on. Also, we're going to hear from Coach Jackson as the Herd got the win over the weekend against Bellarmine. Now we're going to look ahead. We got Purdue coming up on Saturday. We got one of those double-header things going on again. We're going to have both the games right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and 93.7 The Dog. So we got basketball first, and then we're going to have football as the Thundering Herd. We're getting closer to possibly an East Division championship. And oh, by the way, Georgia Southern lost. If we haven't talked about that yet, let's do that now. When last we met on this radio station, we were talking about how it could be Georgia Southern losing and putting Marshall in first place and in control of its destiny. Well, guess what? It happened. Marshall's in control of its destiny again. It's all on the Herd now. Forget about any other team other than what Marshall does. Here we are 2 games away from a possible East Division championship. And remember, and I point this out, we go back to that Georgia Southern game. There were a lot of you that wanted Marshall to leave Coach Huff in Georgia and just come on home without him. You know who you are. You remember it well, because I remember it as well as all. So I'm not keeping receipts, but Marshall wins an East Division championship. How about that? That's a little bit closer to what we're looking for. And then, what if Louisiana loses again? By the way, Louisiana losing. If Louisiana loses again, Marshall would be set. And I didn't think this was possible, but a lot of things happened after we went off the air on Saturday. Marshall could host the championship game. So if Louisiana can't finish the deal and Marshall can finish out the rest of the way, 2 games on the road and win out, claim the East Division, and possibly host the championship game here in Huntington. You didn't have that on your bingo card, did you? Absolutely not. I'll tell you, you didn't. So we'll get into all of that. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And then we still don't know what's going to happen in the state of West Virginia for high school footballs. The playoffs, I can't tell you a thing right now. I don't know. They don't know. Nobody knows. I thought we might get something today. I was hoping we'd get something today. After all, it's Monday. Maybe we'll get something tomorrow. We got to figure this out sooner than later. Holding everything up. We've got kids that have worked all season long. They're deserving of this opportunity. We just got to figure it out. Nobody's going to be happy at the end. Somebody's going to be mad. There will be teams that will be left out. There'll be teams that feel like they should have been in. There'll be teams and people that think they're wrong. And you can lay this on the feet of everyone involved. There's no one innocent. The whole 4A classification, I think that was wrong. The waiting until we get to the playoffs to start filing injunctions and start going to the courts, that was wrong. Instead of looking at this and saying, okay, well, now you've reclassified all of these schools because you were forced to, and there are a lot of schools that, and I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of the schools, they caused this as well. When you had the reclassification, oh, we don't want to be 4A. We don't want to be 4A. We don't want to be in the same league as Martinsburg. We're going to drop the 3A. And again, the formula was maybe not as fair. There's a simple way to do this. You base it on, and I like this. I'm stealing this from Fred Persinger. I am absolutely ripping him off and stealing this. You take the football rating system, put it back to 1, 2, and 3. Single A, double A, and triple A. Three classifications. And again, you want to figure out, okay, well, who's going where? Which school goes where? You take football and you take the student enrollment, boys enrollment. That's it. You base it off the boys enrollment because it's football. We're basing this stuff off. This is football. Absolutely. I like his system. So I'm going to steal it, and eventually I'm going to make people forget it's his, and I'm going to claim it as my own. But absolutely, you got to fix this right now. And it's just a joke. And the other states are going on right now. By the way, Ashland takes on Corbin in Kentucky. That is going to be Friday. We'll have that for you. It's going to be on the road. So they're at Corbin. It's on Cat Sports in 93.3, 1340. So there's playoff action still to go. Raceland's still alive. Russell's still alive. Ironton and Wheelersburg. If you're looking for a good game to watch on a Friday night, head over to South Point because that's going to be the neutral ground between Ironton and Wheelersburg. It'll be at South Point. So if you're looking for a game on a Friday night, we've got a few. It just won't be in the state of West Virginia. At this point, it's Monday. Can you look at this honestly and say, okay, we'll figure this out on Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, go get ready to play. I know the teams are getting ready to play. They're practicing. I'm sure everybody is in that holding pattern, but you don't have an idea of your opponent. It matters to a degree. You go out there at the end of the day, you play, draw up the plays, but you kind of like to know, are you traveling? Are you going to be home? What's the deal? What's the bracket look like? All of that you want to know, obviously, and we just don't have that right now. And so this has been a complete joke. And I don't blame one single entity. I blame collectively the entire system. Administrators, parents, I blame you as well. Because, let's be honest, when the classification happened and then you had schools protest the classification and started throwing this out of whack, and then didn't change the formula. So instead of, okay, these schools were 4A, now they're 3A, well, that messes our schedule up, and that's going to impact our points rating. And then you've got schools that were eliminated from postseason. If you did the math, well, we're not going to get in. Well, now we're going to file an injunction, and we're going to change that rating. And so now teams got in, teams didn't get in. And it just got to the point where, can we play already? We know this is a mess. Can we play already? And yeah, I think it's a joke. You got Class 4A, Quad A, and 16 teams get in. That is not what you're playing for. Doesn't matter. Regular season, you could lose them all. You'll be the 16 seed possibly. Who knows? Strength of schedule is really good, though, so you might be the 15. Let's get into soccer when we continue. Chris Grassi will get his thoughts. The Herd competing in the NCAA Championship Tournament and will be the 13 seed and will play host to either Furman or North Carolina on Sunday. We'll get your thoughts on that. The weekend, of course, a good weekend for the Thundering Herd. Football getting set to possibly make a run towards a championship. East Division Championship is right there in the Herd's grasp. We'll, of course, hear from Coach Huff on that tomorrow, but more coming up, including your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. And in Wayne, Vicki Tabor, 304-272-5149.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Bell, and I invited you here to my hotel room to talk about your cheeks. Your big, beautiful cheeks. Get your mind out of the gutter, I'm talking about swabbing them. Did you guys know that each year 20,000 Americans with blood cancer are searching for their life-saving marrow match? Can you even believe that? I mean, people need marrow, you guys, and we have it. So here's how we can help. It's really, really simple. All you have to do is swab your cheek, this cheek. Then go to Gift of Life Marrow Registry. It's so easy, anyone can do it. And in case you're wondering, if you're a match, donating, it's a lot easier than you think. So wherever you are, go ahead and swab that cheek. Go to giftoflife.org and get a free kit sent to your home, or find a donor drive in your area so that you can swab a cheek and save a life. It's only a minute of your time, but it can give someone else the rest of their life.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Monday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Pretty good weekend for the most part for the Thundering Herd. We did have a couple of bumps in the road. soccer team losing on penalties, and I hate that. That's the thing I hate. You go to a scoreless draw, and then you determine it with penalties. I'd say play on. Somebody's got to win this thing straight up. Play on. I don't know how the teams and players would like that. I say play on. When you look at hockey being a similar sport, in a regular season, you play overtime. You can't get it done in overtime. You go to the shootout. You get it done. All right, regular season game, everybody goes home happy or sad depending on the outcome, but still, you get it over pretty quickly. It's all done. In soccer, same thing. Can't get it done in regulation. You play a quick overtime match maybe. And if you can't get it done there, you go to penalties, call it a day. But when you talk about the idea of winning or losing a championship on kicks, you're not going to decide the Stanley Cup on penalty kicks. I'm sorry, you're not going to anyway. You get my point. On a shootout, you're not going to decide the Stanley Cup on a shootout. You're not going to decide the Super Bowl on field goals. Hey, well, maybe you will, but we're tied. Let's just have a field goal kicking contest. Okay. Kick it from the 50. All right, first team to miss. All right, did you miss? Okay, well, have it like a shootout. Just field goal kick. We could do it that way. No. So it's not the best way. I understand it is, as I hate to say the phrase, what it is. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So the Herd getting in as the 13 seed if Marshall would have beat WVU and claimed the Sun Belt Championship. Thundering Herd probably would have been seated a little bit higher right now, getting set to take on either the Furman Purple Paladins or the North Carolina Tar Heels. I'd like to see either team in Huntington, and that's going to be set for 2 o'clock on Sunday. So after a disappointing loss yesterday, or at least a disappointing finish, Chris Grassi on where he's seated, pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I thought there's always some interest in math, right? I feel for some of the teams that didn't get in that I thought should have got in. At least we got a seed, or at least we got a bye from the first round. I thought we could have been, top 5 for sure, but, it is what it is. Now we got a great path. We know the opponents that we got to potentially play, so it's a lot of exciting matchups. I'll be just very excited to get started and get after it.
I also asked Chris, just want to get a little bit more of his thoughts on just, what do you like? The bracket you saw, your path. You mentioned that with Furman, North Carolina. We're eyeing Charlotte. Charlotte's over there, right? You can see them on the bracket. Just get his general thoughts on that bracket.
It's some really good teams, but some teams would be excited to play. We got Furman and UNC. I think it'll be a tough game, and the winner of that, we've played UNC before on a championship run one time before. We played Georgetown on a championship run before, and then NC State or Charlotte. If they beat Georgetown, it's all exciting games. I'd love to play Charlotte again.
Yeah, I'd like to see him play Charlotte as well. I don't want to see him travel to Georgetown. So there's possibility that the Thundering Herd, if it works out, could host more than just one game. But what's the mindset now for this team? You come home after, I want to say, disappointing finish, not just how the team performed, just how it ended on kicks. You go through all of that, and okay, you go to kicks, and you lose on kicks. So what's the mindset now as you get ready for this tournament?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of just staying on the positives, As we lost one game all season, September 2nd. It was months ago, right? And we sort of played. We had 5 good chances last night to score. We played them the first time. We had much better of the game. And so it's kind of telling the guys, listen, we haven't lost. We lost on penalties. Okay, it could have gone either way. It was a game of inches. Once those inches start falling in our favor, once the goals start sort of regressing to the mean, I think we'll be totally fine. So we just got to keep doing what we're doing, believe in what we're doing. It's going to come our way.
The other interesting thing about this bracket, as we alluded to, West Virginia, regular season champion, also the tournament champion, didn't actually beat the Herd. It went to a draw, had to get it done in penalties. At the same time, they're the champs. They're not seeded. They did not get one of the top seeds. They didn't get a seed. I mean, they will get a game. That's the good news for them. They will get a game at home. But at the same time, they've got to take on North Florida, and then they got to travel to Virginia. They'll play number 11 Virginia on Sunday if they can win and get past North Florida. This is your regular season champion. This is your tournament champion. And they didn't get seeded nationally? I know some of you are like, yeah, cry me a river. But still, I don't know if that's a good look for the Sun Belt. I mean, it's good for Marshall that Marshall got seeded. That's what we're concerned with. How the Herd do in the bracket. Where's the Herd going to be playing? That's our big concern. But as far as the way that the Sun Belt looked at this year, your champion didn't get a national seed? What's going on here? I mean, this thing is it's questionable at best. So we'll get that when we continue. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, there is a place to shop at. The Huntington's Peddlers Mall is now open in the historic Central City District in Huntington. Over 200 vendors specializing in vintage antiques, home decor, furniture, collectibles, new mattresses, and everything in between. Peddlers Mall, located 800 14th Street West in Huntington. It's the place to go. Open 7 days a week. Visit anytime. Check out the website, peddlersmall.com, for more information. It's the Tri-State place to shop, Huntington's Peddlers Mall.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the Tri-State. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night.
Perfect. I love my job.
Oak tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay, Squirrel! Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Monday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. Before we hear from head coach Cornelius Jackson, we got the technical gremlin figured out. We were talking about where Marshall and WVU ended up in the seeding. And, of course, Marshall, a 13 seed. West Virginia beat Marshall, won the regular season title in the Sun Belt, won the tournament championship, and yet Marshall got the seed and WVU did not get the first-round bye. Instead, will have to play against North Florida and then go on the road, if victorious, to take on Virginia. Totally doable, but still. I mean, you get one game at home, but you're not one of the top seeds. So your path might be a little bit more difficult at the same time. You got to win. You got to play them somewhere. You got to win. And so Marshall, if possible, could have been higher. At least that's kind of the thoughts of Chris Grassi when he was talked about the seeding and how this went. He felt that if Marshall could have got the win, that the Thundering Herd would have been seeded a lot higher.
Yeah, I think if we had a one yesterday, I think you were probably a little higher and they're probably a little lower. But I think that's probably about right. I think a first round bye. I said to Strats before the game that they'll get a first round bye. So that's what I thought.
Short, sweet. That's Coach Grassi on that. Now let's turn our attention to basketball. Hey, the Herd got the win. Everybody won on Saturday. The men won. The football team won. Everybody won. It was a good day. Georgia Southern lost. It's a good day. There might be an outside chance here for the Thundering Herd. The door is open now. Marshall might actually get to host the championship. Not just be in the championship, but host it as well. So there is an absolute chance here that we could be talking about in a few weeks. Marshall at Jones C. Edwards Stadium playing host to Louisiana in a championship game. And, of course, television's responded, obviously. These are going to be some really big games coming up. As far as seeding's concerned, it's important. What's going to happen is, one, if Marshall can win out, it's the East Division champion. And if Marshall wins out, then we're looking at possibly a home game. But we need Louisiana to do Marshall a favor. And like Georgia Southern did the Herd a favor, we need now Louisiana to do the Herd a favor as well. By the way, the game on the 30th at James Madison, 8 o'clock kick. It's been elevated to ESPNU. So Louisiana at ULM, that's going to be noon on ESPNU on Saturday, November 30th. And then Marshall at James Madison is going to be at 8 p.m. on ESPNU. So it's going to be a day of Sunbelt action on ESPNU, and that's because these are going to be pivotal games. Very important games, because Marshall, if can win out, is going to be your East Division champion. No tiebreaker, nothing. You don't have to worry about that as well. And so that's the good news here. The Thundering Herd has an opportunity to be in the championship game. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. While we're talking about football, while we're here, first up, Mike Green getting national recognition once again. This time, he got the East-West Shrine Bowl Breakout Defensive Player of the Week. He finished the game. Marshall won 31-19 with 8 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 quarterback hurries. He was a beast out there. He leads all FBS players in these categories. Sacks with 15, sack yardage 126, tackles for loss 19.5, Tackles for loss yardage, 136. Tackles by a defensive lineman, 68. He has been on a roll. He was named as the Reese Senior Bowl Defensive Player of the Week. Of course, we just mentioned the East-West Shrine Bowl Breakout Defensive Player of the Week. And he was a semifinalist for the College Defensive Player of the Year. Absolutely on a tear. So good news there. And then, not to be outdone, by the way, when we were watching the game on Saturday, and all of a sudden, Marshall gets one of those field goal blocks and scores. It was all due to J.J. Roberts. We thought, okay, if he's not Special Teams Player of the Week, are they even paying attention? Well, he's Special Teams Player of the Week. So that was, I think, one of the key plays in this game. Jumped through the line, blocked the field goal, and then Jacoby Henderson just took off. It registered 65 yards. So shout out to Jacoby for getting it going. But that was the first blocked field goal for a touchdown for Marshall in 14 years. The last time that happened, 2010 against Ohio State. By the way, JJ also had 12 tackles, had a tackle for loss, 4 pass breakups. Absolutely a tremendous performance for the Thundering Herd. So some more accolades coming his way. And I knew we would see something special in that game, but I wasn't expecting that. That was not on my bingo card. And so now Marshall got it done. Marshall's in a situation where it could possibly host a championship game, and we could be talking about your Sun Belt Conference champions. And then we can pull it out one more time. We play for championships. Coach Pruitt said it. Marshall fans have lived by it ever since. Here it is. We play for championships. And by the way, JJ also, you give him your 75 game moment. Number 11, JJ Roberts, right? 14 years. First time in 14 years, Marshall has blocked a field goal and able to run it back for a touchdown. 11-14, that's your 75 game moment. Text lines 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're going to hear from Coach Jackson when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thoroughbred Express Wash has completely upgraded its Route 60 Huntington location with all new equipment. Wash and dry, tire shine, triple foam, wheel cleaner, bug prep, ceramic seal, and more. Experience the Thoroughbred Express difference today. Plus high-powered vacuums, all-purpose cleaner spray, fresh microfiber towels, and introducing the brand new Secretariat Wash featuring Graphene X. It's all upgraded at Thoroughbred Express Wash, Route 60 in Huntington. Find a location near you at thoroughbredexpress.com.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118. At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, Plus, with SelectQuote same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Hey, is that a faucet running? Nope, that's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. It is? Yeah, forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact... What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum. That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe. How do trees clean the air? They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us. Cool. I didn't know that. Yep, but the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb. Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 on this Monday edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Basketball on Saturday, what a way to end the night. We got the football win earlier in the day, and then we all headed over to the Cam Henderson Center to watch the Herd get it done against I thought they were gamey in that first half. A Bellarmine team that I was sitting there thinking, okay, all right, this might be a game in the second. No, Marshall shut that down. We're moving on now. Marshall's got a few days to get ready in action on Saturday, taking on Purdue. Earlier today, had a chance to catch up with Coach, and one of the things that he talked about, they're still focusing on the process. Marshall's basketball SID, Cody Lynn, is who Coach references here. And when he was asked, Coach, about just the opponent and talking about the game this week, one of the things he talked about was right now this team is still focusing on the process.
Purdue, Cody asked me on the way up here, did I watch him? Did I study him yet? I told him I'm afraid to, man. Those guys, obviously Coach Painter does a great job. They have a first-class program, a lot of respect for him, but we will eventually get there. We're still focused on the process of just doing things we can control, and that's playing hard, sharing the ball, being a physical, tough team defensively.
Also, since this team is focusing on the process, I'm sure part of the process is you got to find the guys that work together, right? And so one of the things I want to know is, how are you right now? You're pretty happy with, how it's been working out. Do you like your rotation? Are you still trying to figure out who works best together? And Coach talked about how right now it's still a work in progress.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. We having Jalen out. We had Obina out a game. Ryan Netter played 5 minutes in this game, so it's still a work in progress. I feel we're a deep team. I feel that each one of our guys on the floor, on the bench, can step in and play a key role. But we're still trying to figure that part out.
Has anyone surprised Coach so far? That was a question that was asked earlier today. And I don't think Coach is really a guy that's going to say, oh, yeah, I'm surprised he could do that. I think instead he expected a lot of what he's getting right now. And so he really won't single anyone out truly. I mean, he'll highlight a couple of things, but he won't single anyone specifically out And so when he was asked if anyone's really surprised him, I mean, Coach, I think he's right where he wants to be right now. Not really, is what his response was.
Not really. I was impressed with Dzane Mingo's 8 assists, 0 turnovers. I like that. We talked about it early on in practice about taking care of the basketball and making the right reads and making the right plays. And 8 to 0 was pretty impressive. But again, it's a work in progress. We're trying to create a culture that every time we step on the floor, we're trying to compete at a high level. We want to be physical. We want to defend. We want to share the ball. We want to play very, very, very connected. So it's all a work in progress. You asked earlier about the opponents. We focus on them, but we don't, if that makes sense. We're just trying to stay together as a team, grow, focus on the process, and bring it each and every day.
We're listening to Coach Jackson. Earlier today, he spoke with the media, and one of the things he talked about was the success right now of just how this team, and focusing on the guards, how this team has been finding that success running sets. And he talked about what their goals are and why and how successful teams are finding success. And he illustrated that.
It really means that they're catching on, because again, early on, I really harped on it, taking care of the basketball, If you look at winning teams, they usually have a positive assist to turnover. So again, we're trying to get there. 7 assists, 0 turnovers, 8 assists, 0 turnovers is pretty high level. We're trying to get there, and hopefully at the end of this thing, we can look at it and say, hey, we are X amount of assists versus X amount of turnovers, but the assist needs to be in the positive.
We've been talking about the offense. What about the defense? Just how well they've played and how everyone talks about the offense, obviously, but the defense has been something that really has been an emphasis for Coach Jackson.
Yeah, we put an emphasis on defense. Again, we work on it every day. We hold our guys accountable. We want them to be active on the ball. I feel we need to play that way in order for us to be successful, kind of turn some defense into offense. Least opportunities. We had several against Bellarmine 2 days ago, and I wasn't real happy and pleased with our conversions off of our stops. So we had 3 or 4 or 5 possessions where we got really good stops, but we didn't convert on the other end. Some people call them touchdowns. We didn't score a touchdown on the other end. But we'll watch film today before practice, try to get that cleaned up before we head up here to Purdue.
Speaking of Purdue, it's going to be a pretty big game, right? You get to go to Purdue, one of the more exciting venues, one of the more exciting opponents you can play. I mean, it's Purdue, right? Good basketball tradition, big-time opponent. Coach was asked about, do you let your team enjoy the moment, let them enjoy being, in that environment at Purdue? Is that something that you focus on and just allow that team to kind of soak it in?
I'm the wrong guy to kind of ask that question. I believe that the courts are the same size, the rims are the same size, the seats may be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, it's still basketball, right? So, every guy on our team has been playing basketball for a long, long time. They've played in different arenas. When I was growing up, we played on the outside courts. So we would go to Collins Middle School. We would play in Harlem Heights. We would play in Beckley. We were playing Pine Hill Apartments. I played in Thompson Bowling Arena. I played in Rupp Arena. So, and I got there and I started looking around and I'm saying, maybe I thought these rims were going to be 12 feet. They're still 10. All right, they're still 10. The court's still 94 feet. So we just have to, again, focus on what we can control. Focus on our process and our preparation and going here headed to Purdue on Saturday.
I was curious. I kind of followed up on that. Isn't that how you want it to be? You want to go, and you don't want your team in the moment more than just focusing. We got to go back to Hoosiers here, right? We got to measure the rim. Okay, it's the same. Court's the same size. Rim's the same height. I mean, I don't think coach is going to get on a ladder and measure and go, okay, hey, see, Purdue, it's the same as the Cam Henderson Center. But coach talked a little bit more as I was asking about. Yeah, that's kind of what you want. You don't want your team going in there and just being in awe of a team in a situation like Purdue.
With our team, again, we just try to remind our guys to focus on the process, focus on the rims being 10 feet high, which they are. I've played at Purdue before. I coached at Purdue. I didn't play there, but I coached when I was at Cleveland State. It's a really nice arena. They probably had 14,000 people there, so it's going to be a little louder. But again, the rims are not going to be any higher. The court's not going to be any longer. It's going to be different colors, and they'll be a little louder. So we have to go in with the mindset that hey, we control our controllables, which is what we talk about all the time, playing hard, defending, sharing the ball, and playing really connected.
Game coming up on Saturday. We got it for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Going to be a busy day on Saturday because we've got football and basketball. It's going to be that way for the next few weeks. And, of course, with Marshall in action against Old Dominion on the football field, then the basketball. Hab's going to call it the basketball field, okay? We got a lot of games on Saturday. The Herd taking on Purdue on the road. Marshall needing to get it done at Old Dominion. Let's hope Georgia Southern, let's hope they lose another one. Let's hope Louisiana loses another one. And let's hope that Marshall can win out because, of course, that matchup against JMU, that's going to be a big deal for the Thundering Herd. You win out, you win that one on national TV. You're playing for a Sun Belt Conference championship. You will have claimed the East Division title, and now you want that big one. At the same time, you need a few things to happen just to make sure that you've got that locked in. I mean, if Georgia Southern loses again, you're good. If you can win out or at least win one, and I don't want to backdoor into this thing. I want Marshall just to win out and claim that thing. And then let's talk about a possibility of hosting a championship game. Marshall wins that. It's going to be awful quiet for the Coach Huff critics. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Don't forget, if you missed anything today or anytime, you can go back and get it on our podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts. It's also on Spotify or just wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on social media. I am on X at Paul Swann. I'm doing the Blue Sky thing right now as well. I have to post a link to that because I don't know how to tell you to get to that. If you're on Blue Sky, look for me. That seems to be where all the sports tweets are going now. It's on Blue Sky. Check that out. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.